Welcome to another NerdSpace event. This time we're going to look at our second round of King of the Hill. We had a perfect turnout for this event last weekend, and hopefully we'll run it again after the Pauper tournament that's coming up this Saturday, September the 3rd. So let's have a quick look over the rules we're playing by here. Generally it's a winner stays on at the table sort of game where we're playing best of one, not three. Minimum 60 card decks with a maximum 15 card sideboard. King's starting health is defined by how well they went in the previous game. So yeah, King might turn up and play something really powerful, but if you can turn up with a few friends and beat them down together in sequence with your lesser decks, the King will ultimately go down, and that's how we're sort of balancing this out. So if you've got something you want to test out against like stronger decks, or you just want to play some weird wacky matchup, that's what this event is for, and that is indeed what NerdSpace and our tournaments are all about. Pure casual, going for the fun element, not super competitive. Alright, let's get excited and jump into the first round. On the left, we're going to have Eric playing an Abzan build. He's already got his Siege Rhino and Courser of Krufix down. And on the right is going to be Nick playing an Is It Prowess build. He's already got the Entangler and the Mage Ring Bully out. Let's see how it plays out. Nick's going to swing in against unsurmountable odds, so he has to have something up his sleeve at this point. Eric is of course going to block, as Nick taps down for, that looks like a Brute Strength? Yeah, Brute Strength. So he's going to give something +3/+1 and Trample. So if he targets the main bully, that will take down the Rhino. He just has to consider where to put it. Alright, so he's going on the Mage Ring Bully. So Eric's got 1 mana up off the Bird of Paradise. So if you can throw down like a Path or something along the lines of that, there you go. So Swords to Plowshare is going to come down, presumably targeting the Mage Ring Bully in response to Brute Strength. Kind of looks like he's just throwing it as his own Rhino, but we're going to assume he knows what he's doing. Alright. Clearly it resolves, he celebrates. And now let's accelerate a little bit forwards here. Obviously that was not a fight Nick was winning. So a couple of turns further in, Eric has created quite the board state there. We've got the Wingmate Rock out there with its token buddy. Nick's down on 11. He plays the Elusive Spellfist. We all celebrate. So it's almost got Prowess, and it gets unblockable. The Expedite's going to give it haste, so currently he's going to get through for 2 unblockable. He's only got to do that 9 times. Nick clearly not fighting anything he needs, so it looks like Eric has got the insurmountable board state. They're now just celebrating the fact it's going to swing through for 2. Alright, Nick coming on in. Of course, Eric's going to take it. And now it just remains to be seen how much he swings back for. Of course, when all the creatures attack, the Wingmate Rock's going to trigger, and Eric's going to gain 1 for each attacking creature, so he's going to finish the game back up on 20 life. Meaning he heads into the next game on a full 20 life. And whoever's up next is going to have a lot of trouble taking him down again. Alright, second Siege Rhino, which we watched him draw off the top of the deck. Lands, of course, coming off the top of the deck thanks to the Courser of Krufix. And there is going to be the swing. Alright, let's jump to the second game where Patrick starts up with his Mono Red Dragons deck. So he's opened really well and thrown down a Thunderbreak Regent turn 3, which Eric has immediately used Utter End on. King, of course, having the luxury of going first. So Patrick's now down to 3 mountains and a Dragonlord Servant, and Eric has got the good old Ramp and Defender Hexproof there. So at this point, Eric's of course going to swing and just keep beating with that Rhino, really putting a clock on Patrick. Rhino is really hard to burn when you're in mono red, so it'll be interesting to see how Patrick tries to deal with that. Looks like we're going to go to Patrick's turn. Untap and the draw. We'll just skip forward a little bit. Alright, so he's worked out what he's going to do. Tap down 2. He's got the Dragonlord Servant there, so he can cast a dragon creature for 3. It looks like he's got a Seething Song in hand, and that looks like a Hellkite, but that's at least a 7 or 8 drop. Tormenting Voice sitting in there as well. So he's going to go for a second Thunderbreak Regent. Of course, when the Thunderbreak Regent becomes target, it deals 3 damage. So if he can continue to throw those down, at least he has a semi-consistent damage output. Alright, there's an Ob Nixilis in hand there for Eric, which will be able to immediately kill the Thunderbreak. It looks like there's also an Abzan Charm. Considering his options here, but really I think Planeswalker is the play, unless it's something we can't see. Alright, tapping down, playing Obnixilis. Presumably going to immediately neg to take down the Thunderbreak Regent. That looks like a 2, so it is. Now, Patrick here has the choice. Is he going to send the damage to Eric, or is he going to send it to... Alright, he just sends it to Eric. He could have redirected it to the Planeswalker, but I guess he's looking for as much damage out as he can. So Siege Rhino is going to come in. Looks like Patrick's going to decide not to block. And let's skip forward a little bit here again. Alright, so Patrick's managed to get down the Dragon Tempest. So now his dragons are going to come in with haste and deal a bit of damage depending on the number of dragons when they enter. Obnixilis has managed to tick back up again, so he's ready to kill something. And 2 Birds of Paradise, because why not? 2 Abzan Charm in hand, so Eric's got a bit of removal or can spread out some +1/+1 counters around. And Patrick got Valakut there, but being mono-red, he doesn't have Escape Shift or anything, so it's unlikely to become a real threat. Eric, not quite sure where he drew this then. Swinging in for 4. And of course Patrick has no option but to take 4. He has the Basilisk Collar on the field, but nothing to attach it to. He does have a neat little trick, I believe, where he can board wipe with that. Alright, what has he managed to draw? Alright, shifting through. At this point, he can cast another Thunderbreak. No, alright, so he's found another Dragon Lord Servant. And Eric is going to throw down 2 Abzan Charms in the end of his turn. So, exile target creature is probably unlikely. So he's either going to draw or... Alright, we're going to distribute 2 +1/+1 counters around twice. So he's going to throw them onto the birds? Yeah. So that's going to be lethal in the air on his turn, and that's going to be the end of the game. The interesting thing will be to see if he can do his neat little life gain trick he did last time. Alright, so he draws an Ajani Mentor of Heroes. He could draw the game out and ultimate him to gain 100 life. That would be extremely annoying. He's going to cast it down anyway. So the +1 is to distribute 3 +1/+1 counters, or to look at top cards of your library and take an aura, planeswalker, or creature from it. But it looks like he's putting counters on the birds and the rhino. Definitely lethal in the air now, is he? He swords to plowshares. Oh, right, okay. So he swords to plowsharing his own rhino to gain that much life back, which is going to jump him back up to his starting life total, and then swings in for the victory, starting his next game as king at 20. Alright, so someone has to take Eric down. Up steps Ben with his Orzhov Exalted deck. So he's got a Knight of Glory there with protection against black and Exalted, faking down a Siege Rhino and a Courser of Krufix. So he can currently block the main damage output from Eric all day, Siege Rhino having black in its colours. Well, until he does that. So Sword to Plowshares exiles the Knight. We're a fair bit in at this point. Ben's managed to have down a couple of creatures, but they've had to die, blocking the much larger Abzan. Kind. Abzan left standard, but never left magic, coming in for quite the hit. Alright, we go back to Ben. So he's just drawn a second planes, which he probably needs. No, he's choosing to go black instead. Alright, he must have some kind of removal he's holding up at this point. Passes turn back. Alright, Eric revealing his third Courser of Krufix on the top there. Currently he can just swing in 4/8, which is exactly what he's going to do. Ben considering his options. Alright, he clearly doesn't have anything. Hoping to draw... I can't imagine his deck's running anything along the lines of Damnation, but something like that. Eric throws down the Wingmate Rock. Raid has been triggered because he attacked this turn, so it's going to get its flying buddy. And we go back over to Ben. So this is quite a good example, really, of what we try to create here, both in this little tournament and at NerdSpace. We've got Eric, who's been playing quite a while, knows what he's doing and has quite a solid deck, versus Ben, who's relatively new to the game, just trying out a build to see if he likes it. And it's just that perfect casual atmosphere to play in a proper setup And there's the Mere Battlesphere. So when it enters, it's going to put in 4 1/1 Mere tokens, and when it attacks, you can tap X Mere to give it +X/+0 and to deal X damage.
Unfortunately, I don't have any tokens.
Alright, so these are going to represent the tokens. Currently, not enough to stop the 6 damage in the air though, and he is quite tapped out, so really we're just waiting to see here if Eric will actually do the right thing and stay at 15. Oh, well, the Wingmate Rock's going to trigger when he attacks, so no, he's going to be king once again at 20 life. Skipping back to Eric's turn now. So they've talked through how the Mere Battlesphere works. Reveal the land off the top, comes straight onto the field, and now Eric is just basically deciding how he's going to win this. What's he? Alright, sure. He's going to Utter End the Mere Battlesphere just to rub it in a little bit. Utter End really getting a workout today. Tokens are going to stick around. Not going to be enough to chump block though, as the birds are going to swing in, and he swings with everything, jumping himself up to 22. Yeah, I can math. Jumping himself up to 22 and going in for the win.
However, you're on 5. I've got 3 ground creatures, but these 2
just talking through how flying works there. So currently Eric is both holding the position of the hill and has the most wins on the hill, so that puts him in first for both prizes here. So let's jump ahead to the next game now. Eric again on the left as king, and Bo has stepped up with his Boros Humans deck. So he's got the Fencing Ace Double Strike on the field, and those 2 dice represent tokens, and he's just thrown down a Rally the Peasants, so everything's getting +2/+0 until end of turn. You'll notice Eric's managed to use a Sword to Plowshares again, but otherwise hasn't had anything on the field. He is not having a good run. Alright, so coming through for one hell of a beating as we skip forwards a little bit. Bo's managed to maintain the same board state. Another end comes down just a little bit late to kill the Fencing Ace. And that appears to be a Boros Charm in hand, so in response, Bo just immediately burns for the turn 4 win. As we're going to now watch Bo hold the hill and see how an aggro deck goes at holding multiple games. And that's really the interesting aspect. You can get the one lucky win, but can you do it repeatedly? So we've got the Paladin there that can get +2/+0 until end of turn, has Vigilance and can be given first strike, and Ben's come back to try and take him down with the Tormented Spirit, which is unblockable, and the Vampire Nighthawk, flying Death Touch lifelink. Everything you want on a vampire. Alright, so of course, once again, Gather the Townsfolk has made 2 1/1 humans, which are the 2 dice there, and just trying to work out exactly how he's going to attack at this point. And let's skip forward a little bit here, see the outcome. So the Paladin has died, but Bo has quickly replaced it with that legendary creature there. First strike Vigilance, and whenever you cast a spell targeting it, everything's going to get +1/+1 and trample to end of turn. With all the mana up and that Boros Charm in hand, this is going to be quite the beating. Alright, Boros Charm's coming down. So he's swinging in for at least 12 now. Ben, of course, all the mana in the world, 1 card in hand. Let's see what he can do about it. It looks like that's a Tragic Slip though. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Tragic Slip's going to give target creature -1. It looks like he's targeting what the Boros Charm is. But nothing has died yet, so Morbid hasn't triggered. And regardless just how the stack interacts, those tokens are still going to be 2/2s. So it's it's worth a shot, and it's a solid go, but looks like Bo's going to hold his position on the hill again as we go up for the next challenger. Alright, next round. Someone who looks deceptively like me is going to step up on the right, playing another Is It Prowess deck, up against Bo, who's had a great opening with the Champion of the Parish, so whenever another human enters under his control, is going to get +1/+1. I likewise have a solid opening, with the turn 1 Swift Spear swinging in for 1, as we go back to Bo. He of course started on 18, due to his finishing life total from the previous game as king. So he is going for... Alright, perfect. Gather the Townsfolk. So that's going to put 2 1/1 humans on the field and pump up his Champion of the Parish. Currently only just in bolt range, but it's only going to get bigger unless I can do something about it quickly as I go to 17. Alright, what do I find? I can see a bolt in hand and a Gitaxian probe. So I'm going with the Gitaxian probe. Pay 2 life, draw a card, have a look at Bo's hand, hoping not to see too much aggressive stuff. And I see 2 Acheron Hoplites, a Rally the Peasants, and a Plains. So I need to go very fast or suddenly switch into a defensive strategy at this point. Bo looking pretty confident with his position on the field.
Yeah, confirmation is good.
Alright, there's at least 1 bolt in hand, so that can kill the champion of the parish.
Yep. Swinging with my 2-3.
I move into combat. Bo now needs to decide whether he's going to block with a token or not, coming in with a 2-3 due to Paris. And it's one of those little interesting scenarios in Magic where you're essentially bluffing. Alright, he chooses not to block. So I throw down the Titan Strength, which is going to give the Swift Spear +3/+1 on our Scry, so it's coming in for 5. And then, while I'm at it, I'm casting a Lightning Bolt to kill the champion of the parish and get that extra 1 damage through off the Swift Spear. So I'm going to come in for 6. And we're going to jump forwards a little bit here, I think, as we see how Bo's board state is going to develop. So we come on back, I've been hitting through, I've got a Delver of Secrets out, and Bo has been finding it very difficult to find other tokens. He's managed to fire off his boost there, but he doesn't have any red in his mana pool to flash it back. So my Delver flips off, revealing a Rift Bolt, which I'm then going to immediately cast, hitting him for 3, and finishing him in the sky with the Delver. And like that, I become king, and he still hasn't managed to find a red source. And, you know, it happens. So we'll go to now me on the left as king, and Nick has stepped up on the right with a blue-green heroic deck. I've hurt myself a lot playing lands, as I go into the double lightning bolt turn 2, and then swinging for 3 with the Swift Spear. Jumping forwards really quickly here, we're back to Nick's turn, where he's going to play down an Elvish Mystic and a Hero of Liana Tower. The hero, when it gets targeted, heroic will trigger, and you can pay X to put that many counters on it. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's going to block with them, is probably what I'm wondering at this point. So I play down the second Swift Spear, and crack on in. Now he has to work out again if I'm bluffing or not. Okay, so we got the Ordeal Assassin being an enchantment there. What options is he showing? Can't quite make it out.
I can afford to lose 2 more life.
Alright, moving to blocks it seems. Alright, he's going to put the Elvish Mystic up against one of the Swift Spears and let the other one through. Let's skip forward a little bit again as I boost onto the Swift Spear and we go back to his turn. So I've managed to get down Delver of Secrets, and he puts the Ordeal Assassin onto his creature. There's little left he can do at this point if my Delver is able to flip.
You do 1 star, I'm dead.
Alright, reveal off the top, it's the Rift Bolt, flipping the Delver. And then I should be able to cast the Rift Bolt for 3 and hit through in the sky with the Delver for the win. And with that, once again, I am king. And it's not at all biased for me to be commentating my own games. Alright, so Eric steps back up to take the hill from me on the right there. He's going to be playing Mono Green Elves as I open by suspending a Rift Bolt. So the start of my next upkeep is going to deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Eric opens with the Elvish Mystic, passes back. So my Rift Bolt now, I'll decide whether to fire it at Eric or his elf. And having played against elves a few times, I know to kill their initial mana dork always. So Eric just checking I can indeed do that with the Rift Bolt. And we pass back to him. Oh wait, no sorry, I got a whole turn, that's how magic works. I'm going to throw down a Stormchaser Mage. So that's going to be a 1/3 Flying Haste Prowess. Mutagenic Growth comes down, that's going to give it +2/+2. I pay 2 life for that, so it's going to swing him for 4, and now we pass back to Eric. Alright, Eric throws down Priest of Titania. That's an elf druid that taps for green mana equal number of elves he controls. And if you'd like to question my pronunciation of magic cards, please do write to me. We pass back to me. I'm throwing down... Looks like, yep, I'm going to throw down my Pain Land. 3 mana up. Can potentially win from here, maybe? Throwing down a Swiss Spear. Throwing down... Alright, I'm not going to win on this turn. Throwing down Storm Chaser Mage. So that's going to be 3 damage currently on the table. Going for the Gitaxian Probe. So I'm going to have a look at Eric's hand, and all my creatures are going to get +1/+1. So he's got the Imperious Perfect, gives all elves +1/+1, and the Archdruid that does the same thing, but it was also a mana source. So I really do need to win here now, otherwise elves will completely overrun. It's important to note that when you become king, you are allowed to use your sideboard between taking the position of the hill and becoming king to shift your deck a little bit into that more control build. So I am running, I believe, 2 Pyroclasm for this exact scenario, and really banking on drawing it sometime soon.
Oh, not sure about that. Just careful around the table.
Alright, Eric's multiple forests in hand and the elves, and it appears he's drawn an Elvish Visionary. Alright, he plays down the Archdruid. So he now has 2 elves on the field, so he can bring down the Visionary, drawing a card, leaving up a blocker. I can get through minimum 2 in the air next turn. Otherwise, he's going to crack back at me for a lot of damage. What do I find? You'd think I'd know to show my hand to the camera, considering I'm the one who has to comment, but anyway. Right, attacking on in. Nothing Eric can do to respond. Wait to see the blocks. He considers what he can afford getting rid of. Visionary is clearly it. Attempts to block Storm Chaser Mage. Realizes that they're flying. And now, do I have it? Take 1, cast Titan Strength. And that is... And there's the Bolt, and that's going to be it. So we'll go on to my next turn in Hill, where Bo steps up playing his black-white Constellation deck. And I have great second turn, hitting in for 5. Play down the Delver and pass turn.
Just being Eric.
So here's the interesting thing. I am playing a very aggressive deck as king. So I drain my life total down quite a bit and start each game a bit lower. And this is how we sort of intend it to work. So while my deck might be arguably powerful, as the Delver flips there, it's going to get weaker and weaker each time it's opposed.
So that's draw a card, make target creature unblockable. That's not going to go right this second.
Alright, so Bo not yet playing anything. I believe we can see an Oblivion Ring in his hand. As I cast the Slip Through Space on the Swiss Spear, go and draw a card, fire off the Lightning Bolt, and I'm going to swing through for 6. That is definitely an Oblivion Ring. So he draws a Nyx Fleece Ram, plays the Swamp.
That's kind of it.
Alright, this is where his deck, his Black-White Constellation deck, if you saw the last video, can switch very effectively from an aggressive deck to a control deck. That looks like an Unmake also in hand, so he's got all the removal he needs to shut me down. Alright, he passes turn. He must, yeah, that must have been an Unmake. Alright. I appear to have a Mutagenic Growth in hand. I can't make out the rest of the cards. Mutagenic Growth goes down onto the Swift Spear, so it's going to be swinging in for 4 and then 3 in the air. Bo considering his options. Yeah, there's definitely an Unmake there, so he's going to exile my Swift Spear, and I'm only going to get through for 3. And that's the might of a control deck. You can go down low, but if you can shut down something like me, you can stabilize. Let's see if you can do it. On the draw, goes for... There you go. Goes for the Oblivion Ring onto my Delver. So that's exiled until I can get rid of the Oblivion Ring which blue and red is not known for being able to do.
Be nice.
Oh, maybe a bounce effect.
I am.
No, it's in
Oh, what?
Alright, I fail to find anything castable, so let's skip forward a bit here. So Bo creates quite the board state. He's got the Nyx Fleet Ram gaining life, and the Grim Guardian whenever Constellation triggers by an enchantment, I'm going to lose 1 life. And then that Grim Guardian is also got lifelink thanks to an attached Hopeful Eidolon.
Well, as soon as you cast it, you tap that, cast the first one.
Yeah, second
Okay.
one plays first.
Second one plays.
So yeah, I've really been taking a beating now. It just remains to be seen how many enchantments Bo can chain out in order to beat me.
Pay 1.
Yep.
Tap, draw a card. There is a city.
Alright, so he's got the Underworld connections there attached to a land, so he can pay 1 life to draw a card. Keep going to look for those finishes. Alright, plays in the tap land, regains that life. You can see people moving in to watch now. Alright, swinging in for 1, or 2 rather, due to the bestowed creature. So I go down to 1, and he plays another enchantment, which triggers the I lose 1 life, and that's it for me. I'm responding for some reason with a lightning bolt just cause, and Bo takes the hill.
No box. 2.
Alright, so Bo, first game on the hill again with his black-white constellation, is going up against another Izzet sort of prowess deck. Got the Kiln Fiend there, the Wee Dragonauts, and of course this has been run by Deej. Listicle Weird there, of course, the best non-prowess creature. So it's been a great little game so far. Deej has really just been throwing down creatures and hitting in for a small amount. Yet to actually find an instant or sorcery to profit off them with. Bo, of course, just waiting on that all-important removal and generally generating card advantage off his Underworld connections there. And there's the Sphere of Safety. So this is going to be quite difficult now for Deej. Bo has 2 Underworld connections plus the Sphere. So Bo is now demanding that Deej pays 3 mana for each creature when they try to attack. And that is one hell of a shutdown for an aggressive deck like Deej's. So it looks like he's just drawn a Electrode there. Possibly the greatest card in Magic, in my opinion. He's also got a Judge's Familiar there, it looks like. Sacrifice it to counter instant or sorcery spell unless they pay 1. But it looks like he's going to go with the Nivix Guildmage here.
Yes, token draw.
Generates card draw and allows him to copy instants and sorceries if he's going really well.
And I will pass.
Alright, pass back to Bo's turn. He untaps here. So he's gone full on into the control style now. Really, as long as he keeps playing roughly 1 or half an enchantment a turn even, he's going to be relatively safe here. Taps and takes 1 to draw another card. Playing down something for 5.
4, 6.
Alright, there's the Doomwave Giants. Whenever it or another enchantment enters, all creatures get -1, -1. So that's going to be enough to wipe out a fair chunk of Deej's field.
X is now for enchantment.
Especially if another one can come in. So we're going to see Deej's turn, and we're going to skip forward a little bit here. Alright, so Bo hasn't really developed that much of a board state. Deej unable to really do anything as the second Doomwave Giant comes down. So that's going to deal... that's going to be enough to wipe Deej's entire field with the exception of the Wee Dragonauts. And then playing something for 2. That's going to be the Nyx Fleet Ram, so that's going to be the 3rd and 4th -1, -1. Definitely enough to deal with the Wee Dragonauts.
I approve of this deck. Just, is it all day?
Alright,
Not bad.
going back to Deej now. He's going to have to pay more mana than he has to actually get a creature through. So he's going to really need a miracle here at this point.
No, that's true.
Having said that, I really love his
But
deck.
his hand is like all my favorite cards.
It appears to be a Lobber Crew in hand, so that's an 0-4 defender that taps to deal 1 damage to each opponent.
I'm guessing
We're going to skip forward a little bit more here as he tries to think through what he's going to do. So Galactrode's sitting there on the field, trying to block down a Doomwave Giant, both of which have now been enchanted, to hit through for maximum damage.
Running the bolt, face.
Deej tapping down 2, he's going for the Thunderbolt, so that's going to be 3 damage to Bo, and basically admitting defeat at this point. Just not quite fast enough, as Bo points out how he failed to activate his Galactro during that time. And some other event, presumably Doomwake, should have killed it. So there's the other Galactrode coming in as we pass back to Bo, gaining 2 life off the next police ram, then has the ability to draw 2 cards of 2 Underworld connections, as he's going to do.
5. Doomlake.
Alright, here we go. 3rd Doomwake Giant definitely kills the Galactrode, and then he has more than enough power on the board to win, throws on the Ethereal Armor for good measure, and swings through for just a metric ton of damage. So Bo is going to be our king once again. Let's see who can take him down next. So Steven's going to step up on the right here. He's playing a level up deck from the original Zendikar. So you've got the Knight of Cliffhaven there, so they can be paid to level up to have flying and later vigilance. Bo's only got the Hopeful Eidolon and the Underworld connections down, and Steven's got Training Grounds, which essentially makes all his level ups cost 2 less. 2 colourless, that is. So this is a matchup we weren't sure at all how it was going to go. Both decks have a heap of synergy going on, so it's really going to come down to who draws the best stuff early. Alright, going back to Steven's turn, drawing, playing down basic Swamp. He's got quite the mana base going on there. So far we can see 4 colours. What has he got in hand? Alright, moving to level up his Cliffhaven. So that should be able to jump it straight up to be a flying vigilance, smacking in for 4. Alright. Bo sitting on 4 mana there. Throwing down the 5th, that should be enough to get him into basically everything in the deck. There's the Sphere of Safety. Bringing that down, currently controlling 3 enchantments, meaning Steven's going to have to choose between repeatedly beating in the air or playing creatures. His mana is now very tied up.
Correct. Yeah. So it's only 3 for that. Pass turn.
Alright, passing turn back, see what he drew. Playing down a blue. Alright, so we're going to play the Enclave Cryptologist. That's card draw, and then draw this card, and then once it's leveled up high enough, it's just flat out tap to draw. It's paying to swing back in. And this is going to be one hell of a battle of attrition. So Bo, hoping to find, presumably, a Doomwake Giant at this point to start taking down opposing creatures. Goes for the card draw, not finding what he needs so far. And here comes... Alright, there it is, Doomwake Giant number 1. So all opposing creatures are going to get neg 1, so the Cryptologist is going down.
All your creatures get -1/-1 to your turn. I'll shoot the turn back.
Passing turn back, it appears. A reminder that Sphere of Safety is now 4, so Steven needs to find land drops fast. Let's skip forward a little bit here. Because as you can imagine, Sphere of Safety really creates a ridiculous board state. So Bo finds a Phyrexian Reclamation that's going to allow him to recur creatures and therefore enchantments from the graveyard, while Steven has Time of Heroes that's going to give all his leveled up creatures +2/+2, and he's managed to find another level up creature itself.
Alright, 1, 2.
Alright, he's going for now. So we've got a Null Champion, it's a level up creature that's just going to get huge fast. And now he has to really think, does he want to be blocking, does he want to try and break back through? You'll notice Bo also has whenever he plays an enchantment in, the opponent loses one's life, and he has the coinsmith, so he can pay black and a white and a life to drain 1 life from his opponent. So if he can activate that just 3 times next turn, he will win, assuming he sees that out. Right, Bo untapping, going for the draw. Remembering, of course, he can get the second draw off the Underworld Connections. And he finds Tomb of Ulborg. It's going to make everything Swamp Rather, in addition to all its other types. And, oh no, he's definitely seen it. He's going straight for the Coinsmith route.
3 times and pay 1 life.
Yeah, there it is. So Bo's going to go down to 15 to win the game, meaning he's going to start the next game at 18. But he will begin. And this is going to be our last match in the King of the Hill. So if Bo wins this match, he will win both prizes. So he's got the Coinsmith down early. Zach's going to be our challenger on the right. He's got down a Mana Gorger Hydra. So that's going to get +1/+1 whenever a spell is cast. And he immediately fires off a Naturalize to take down part of Bo's engines there. Zach playing some kind of Gulgari brew there. And of course, it appears that there is an Ethereal Armor on the Coinsmith. So it's going to get +1/+1 for the number of enchantments Bo controls, which appears to currently be 3. The Tomb there, making everything a swamp in addition to its other types, is going to help both players immensely.
Planes.
So Ethereal Armor hasn't quite got the showing you'd expect in this deck, but it really allows it to switch into quite an aggressive mode there, especially as you build out with a lot of small creatures that incidentally count as enchantments. There it is there. And First Strike is something often forgotten, but incredibly relevant. So Bo tapping down here, tapping 2. 3 rather. Making, or unmaking, the Mana Gorger Hydra. Because that was quickly going to get out of his reach. Swings in with the Coinsmith for 5. Passing over to Zach's turn. So if he can somehow come back from this, he will be the one to come in, take out the king at the last second and take the prize, which is always hilarious when it happens. So here comes the Hand of Silumgar. It's a 2/1 Death Touch. Important to remember though, the Coinsmith does currently still have First Strike, so it's really just a chump blocker at the moment. But definitely need one. Alright, uses a Pain Land, only going back to 20, and he's using the Coinsmith's ability at the end of Zach's turn. There you go, that makes more sense. Alright, so if he can now get rid of the Death Touch creature, he will swing through for lethal.
3. Second one of those guys. Trigger.
Zach, seeming to have a mostly creature hand. Grim Guardian coming in, draining down once more. And by draining, I actually mean just forcing the opponent to lose 1 life, not a proper drain. Coinsmith swings in, of course, block is required. Draws a swamp. Probably desperate for removal at this point. That does appear to be what he's looking for, though it's very expensive. So a really well-timed hit there. Destroy target creature, can't be regenerated. Flesh to dust. So Bo activates the Coinsmith in response, knowing this is probably the last game he can afford to go as low on health as possible. Zach not going to lose yet unless Bo can throw down. That appears to be a Sphere of Safety, so that's going to get close. Sphere of Safety is going to trigger the Grim. And currently the payment is going to be 3 to get through with any creatures.
Enchantment triggers him, you lose 1 life. And I will swing for 1. Go for the 1.
Swings him for 1, putting Zach 2-1. So if Zach can't find removal and Bo finds, he doesn't need to find anything, he can just swing in. So Zach really needs to both find a creature and remove the Grim.
So
That is not what he needs to find. Sibsy Coast, when enters the battlefield, players put the top 3 cards of the library into their graveyard. Maybe he'll get lucky and mill out what Bo was looking for. It looks like he has hit a land and an enchantment creature. It's really hard to tell in these kind of scenarios if that was the right play or not, but it looks like he didn't have many other options in hand.
So tap that for 2, and for 1.
Bo tapping for 2, 3. Oh, you could do that too. So he's going to fire off the unmake and swing in for the lethal. And just like that, Bo is our king. All hail the king. Let us go to our super professional prize ceremony now.
Some prizes. See, show how happy you are.
And thank you very much for watching. That was our King of the Hill tournament. Coming up next weekend, if you're watching this when it's released, will be our Pauper tournament. You'll be able to find that at EVs in Croydon. Check us out on the links below in the description of this video. Pauper is, of course, if it was printed as common, it's playable with the exception of a very small ban list. And once again, it's going to be a casual format, but we'll be doing your proper Swiss tournament. Number of people dictates number of rounds. $10 entry to the event. Don't have to play in the tournament. There's, of course, board games, lots of other casual card games going around. If you get lucky, there might be even a game of D&D playing. Lunch is included, and it's just a great way to spend an afternoon, meet some people, and play all those nerdy games you want to try. If you've got a board game that you can't get anyone to play with, or you really want to try it out, bring it down. We're always happy to try out that sort of thing. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe and all of those other YouTube things, and we'll see you soon.